Title: Climate Crisis Rock Band, US, UK, and Germany pledge big bucks for Horn of Africa's Thirst Quenching Tour. TLDR. In a bold move against the global stage-diving climate crisis, the US has pledged a whopping $524 million in aid for the Horn of Africa, currently smashing its own records with the worst drought in 4 decades. Germany and the UK are also tuning up, committing $226 million and $119 million respectively. But is it enough to silence the climate snarly feedback, and can we avoid a catastrophic world tour of epic droughts? How's this for a world tour? Imagine a jam session between the US, Germany, and the UK at a UN conference, pledging millions to fight the battle against the worst drought in the Horn of Africa in 40 years. But instead of pyrotechnics, we've got extreme effects of climate change stealing the show. The US has launched its setlist with a generous track of nearly $524 million to fight the climate crisis inferno in the Horn of Africa. Germany decided to go a little acoustic with its €210 million, $226 million, pledge, while the UK kept it old school rock and roll with a $119 million pledge for Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Here's the catch though, the UN is crowdsourcing a gig fund of a whopping $7 billion. As it stands, they've only got $1.6 billion in their tip jar, which is a wee bit less than a quarter of what's needed. This leaves 43.3 million fans, people, in need of assistance in the Horn of Africa countries, with over half of them not even having access to enough food, let alone concert tickets. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres pulled a Jagger and appealed to the world's would-be donors to stop painting it black and prevent the crisis caused by drought, years of mass displacement, and skyrocketing food prices. But here's where we need to pump the brakes. Is the relief these big guns are offering simply just another brick in the wall to fight against the climate crisis? Or can it truly make a change? A bunch of nations are throwing in some big dollars, but it's like buying band merch that never arrives. Is it just going to be money down the drain, or will it be used efficiently to provide relief and, in the long run, sustainable solutions? Even with these pledges, we're still far from the UN's target. Is this a sign of a lack of global commitment, or is the world too broke to contribute more? Or, maybe the better question is, how bad does it have to get before we all crank up the volume and make some noise? So, here's your backstage pass question, ready to get you thinking. If a bunch of countries can casually throw in millions for a climate crisis fund, how come we're still facing an uphill battle against climate change? Disclaimer: the information in this article does not constitute any form of advice or recommendation. Always check with appropriate experts and professionals before making any decisions that could have serious implications. Source: US News https://www.usenews.com/news/us/articles/2023-0524/us announces $524 million in new aid for Horn of Africa drought climate crisis.